You know those moments, right? When life gets tough, a difficulty hits, and this really heavy question just pops into your head. It's the kind of question that can fill you with doubt, maybe even a little bit of fear. Well, in this explainer, we're going to tackle that question head on. We're going to use a really powerful framework to help turn that fear into real, solid understanding. Okay, so let's just dive right in. We're starting with a fear that is so common and so deeply personal. It's that little voice that can creep in when things aren't going your way, you know? When it feels like your prayers are just hitting a wall, or when one hardship after another just seems to strike. It's a feeling that, honestly, most of us have probably felt at some point. And there it is. That's the question. Is Allah angry with me? Just that one thought can cast a shadow over everything. It's such a heavy burden because it makes you connect every single setback, whether it's big or small, to this idea of divine displeasure. But is that really the right way to be looking at it? Now, what's fascinating is how the speaker in our source material, Muhammad Ali, talks about this. He says, I am surprised how people can say such big sentences. What he's getting at is how easily, how casually, we can just declare that Allah must be angry with us. And that's the crucial point, isn't it? We throw this phrase around without really stopping to think about its true theological weight. Because, according to the Quran, Allah's anger, that's reserved for some really specific, really severe situations. It's not supposed to be this catch-all explanation for all the normal difficulties of life. So, if it's all a big misunderstanding, then where does it even come from? Let's break down the flawed logic that leads so many of us to this pretty painful conclusion. The thought process is actually super simple, and that's probably why it's so common. A hardship shows up, a challenge appears, and we immediately jump to the conclusion that we must have done something wrong. It's a straight, but as we'll see, incorrect line from point A to point B. And this is the real trap. When we get stuck in this mindset, every single challenge, from a major life crisis to just a minor inconvenience, it all gets filtered through this lens of punishment. It basically turns life into this constant, anxious search for signs that we're in trouble. But what if there's a completely different way to see all of this? That is exactly what the Quranic perspective offers. It's not a lens of punishment, it's a framework of purpose. And this right here, this is the core shift in thinking. The common belief says hardship equals displeasure. Simple as that. But the Quranic truth reframes it completely. Hardship doesn't equal displeasure. Hardship equals a test, an azmaish. You see the difference? This isn't about punishment. It's all about purpose. And let's be clear, this isn't just a suggestion or a nice idea. The source material emphasizes that the Quran presents these tests as a flat-out certainty. It's not a question of if you'll be tested, but when you'll be tested and how. It's a fundamental, guaranteed part of the human experience. Okay, so if life is a series of tests, what do they actually look like? Well, this speaker lays out this beautifully simple and clear framework for understanding them. He breaks them down into 3 very distinct categories. It all comes down to the number 3. That's it. 3 primary scenarios, and each one is designed to test a very specific virtue inside of us. Just remembering this number can be such a powerful tool the next time you're facing a challenge. All right, here's the framework. First, when you ask for something and you get it right away, that is a test of your gratitude. Are you thankful? Second, when you ask for something and you have to wait for it, that is a test of your patience. Can you endure? And third, when Allah does not give you what you asked for, that is the ultimate test of your faith. Do you still trust? This table just lays it out so perfectly. Every outcome is directly connected to a virtue. It's not random. It's not punishment. It's more like a targeted spiritual workout. Getting what you want tests your thankfulness. Waiting for it tests your endurance. And not getting it, well, that tests the very foundation of your belief. And just so we're all on the same page, this isn't just some nice interpretation. The speaker grounds this entire framework directly in the Quran, specifically referencing verses from Surah Al-Baqarah, where Allah states very clearly that we will be tested with things like loss of wealth, life, and the fruits of our labor. So armed with this new understanding, we can completely change our internal dialogue when things get tough. We can finally move away from a question that's rooted in fear and move toward one that's rooted in growth.
With this framework in mind, we can now dismiss that old, draining question. The goal is no longer to anxiously look for signs of anger or displeasure every time we face a hardship. We can just let that go.
And instead, we can ask ourselves this far more constructive, far more empowering question. Okay, which of these three tests am I in right now? Is this a test of my gratitude, my patience, or my faith? This totally shifts the focus from some external judgment to your internal response. It's all about your own spiritual development.
At the end of the day, this framework isn't going to make life's challenges disappear. But what it does, and what is so powerful, is it gives them meaning. It transforms them from being scary signs of anger into incredible opportunities for growth. So the next time you face a difficulty, maybe the best question to ask yourself is this: what is this test trying to teach me?